Hey guys, this is Chaotic TV. We're bringing you the second game from IEM Katowice round of 8, group 2. I know it's a big qualifier, but in the top left of Whirlwind, down 0-1 in this series, we have the blue Terran. He is Empire's Chaos. And his opponent in top right, the red Protoss, up 1-0, of course, goes to logically. Goes to go is not a word. Anyway, it's the red Protoss. He plays for team alternate. He is Socke. Now, he did some great early pressure in that last game. We're going to have to see if he decides to go for another timing attack like he did in the last game. He went up to and got his gate, and then he stacked on a number of gates after that, and just really punished Empire's Chaos with some very, very heavy gateway aggression. That Chaos, going for 3 command centers, didn't have the production facilities to hold off. He didn't have enough Marauders. He didn't have any high ground attack from those Marauders. The force fields from Socke's sentries also prevented his bunkers from being any kind of use, and when he tried to hide or run away his Marines out of those bunkers, they got picked off right away because they were on move command and not attack. So essentially, Chaos had I'm not going to call it a total build order loss, because Socke decided to go right then. He probably wouldn't have stacked on as much if he hadn't seen that Chaos was going for a different kind of build, more economic build at that point. But since there was 3 command centers on the map, it was kind of in Socke's favor as a 2-base Protoss, which is why there are so many 2-base timings out of Protoss, because they can basically just do exactly what Socke did, but they change it up and they add Immortals, or they add like a single Colossus or something like that. You can also see some Stargates and stuff like that, and go into a 3rd base early, or they do kind of gateway pressure into an expansion, so they don't add on as many gates and they warp in less units, but they do put pressure on a Terran player or something like that, simply to keep them back at home so that the Protoss can keep going and building up what they want. Now, both players are scouting, but they haven't found the other player, and they have my kind of ladder scouting instincts, where essentially I don't find the player until it's the very end, and they're already got an attack coming, especially on a 4-player map like this. But the Nexus and Command Center are down first. As we talked about in the last game, both of these players are very economical players. They tend to go for a heavy macro style, and we have to see exactly, what comes up out of these styles, because with the macro style you have a very decent chance at whatever composition you want. It's not like you're being forced in a timing attack situation to choose your composition very carefully. When you go macro style, you can you have to be careful about your composition, but you can be a little bit more flexible about how you build up to it, because you have the means to do so as an economic type player. Both of these players, if we see Socke, he's going to start chrono boosting his gateways this time. That's interesting. Last game, he chrono boosted his Nexus XI to get more probe count. But in this case, I think he's just going to do a little bit of the scouting pressure he did in the last game with 1 Zealot and 2 Stalkers, just to really see what he can do. Pick off a couple of workers or anything like that. Any kind of early economic damage against an economic player is going to hurt. But, of course, he's got mules. So these early SCVs down here aren't really going to do such a big deal. But the bunker is finished, and I think he'll be able to hold this relatively well. There are no force fields right now to prevent him from repairing, so he's going to be able to bring in all of these reinforcing Marines and just keep up his own base and take out whatever units of Socke are foolish enough to come forward, which is going to happen right now. You can see that the Zealot is going to be completely wiped out, and these Stalkers have no chance at all to break up that ramp, because the high ground vision of Chaos is now impenetrable without that Zealot to show these Stalkers the high ground, for them allowed to stay at the very edge of the vision. If they had to move that far up, they would one of them would probably die before it even got in vision of the bunker and had it revealed if they didn't want to shoot at. So there's not going to be any more pressure from Socke right now. He's just going to do a little bit. He's going to leave these out here just to see if Chaos is going to be the one that moves across the map, but Chaos is going to move out here and see that there are Stalkers in the way, kind of baiting them to try and shoot him. But we see a factory coming down right now at a cost instead of a third base, so he learned a little bit of a lesson from the last game in that he's not going to go for an ultra greedy type play. He does have the larger army right now by quite a bit. As you can see, his 850 value to 350 value. But Warp Gate is about to finish, and he's going to stack on a number of gates behind this. He's got 3-gate Robo right now, so he's going to put out a couple of Immortals and probably move into a Robotics Bay so he can get some more tech, some more Colossus tech, or he's going to go for a robotic, another push. But in this case, it's going to be an Immortal push. Oh, there's the robotic base, so he's going to hold off for a little bit before he throws out any kind of serious damage to the Terran player. And the Terran player is going for the Marine Rotovac play that Katowice is so well known for, building them at missile turrets just in case a Dark Shrine decides to come by. And the starport is going to finish, and then he'll probably throw down another command center on top of this, since he's about to fill up his natural bases mineral line. Once he gets saturated on both bases, he's not going to want to stop his SCV production. He's going to want to just keep on going and build a third base and either level it down. He's going to have to put it here because this is too close to his opponent, and his opponent just has a really short rush distance essentially to the third base of Katowice. And Socke, on the other hand, will expand here, which is much further away from Katowice. So Katowice has to build forward towards his enemy no matter where he puts his command center. And that's just, luck of the draw, is kind of the positions that he has to go with. But we see that only 2 pylons are powering all of these buildings, so if he were able to bring in Banshees and knock these out, then it would just be a problem. But he's not going to do that, especially with the reinforcing power of all of these gateways. They can just warp in, 5 Stalkers right here and completely destroy it. But we do see if Katowice is going to push out. He's not going to scan and see this, so this observer is seeing everything that is moving across the map, and if Socke is at all paying attention, he'll be able to warp in a number of units behind this and just start building up his own forces. Switch from an econ type setup where he just keeps building probes and going to fill out this third base. But Katowice is going to be the one who does the pressure this game. He's going to have the high ground vision by the scouting factory and by his medevacs. And now that he knows that there's Colossus there, he's going to have to try to micro them back so that there's more damage can be done. So he's just running back home right now. I expected him to stop and micro a little bit, but he just doesn't want that Colossus to get in range. That was an odd force field, to be honest. Both players are about even supply right now. This factory is going to be probably picked off by the Protoss player. I was thinking that Katowice would wait up here, get his factory over here, and then have the high ground vision so that these Colossi wouldn't be such a big deal, but now they're going to be a huge deal with the extended thermal lance coming in. And Katowice takes the time to upgrade some infantry armor and weapons. So he's got the double eBay going on right now. And the forges of Socke are kind of stuck at 1-1, except now that they have that. Where did that Twilight Council just finish? There it is. I don't know why I completely missed that. But it just finished, so he started level 2 right away. And it looks like Socke is going to lose his third, to Katowice while I was talking about upgrades. There's all sorts of happenings going on right now. Katowice is able to get away with at least 4 medevac, but he was able to do a serious amount of economic damage since he has a third base. But these Zealot warp-ins on the forward pylon were able to take out the third base's mineral line, at least stop them from mining, and he killed how many SCVs? He killed 8 SCVs. Now these are all going to get cleaned up, but it's not going to be a big deal. Katowice with 3 bases is going to be able to reinforce immediately his SCV line, but he is going to have to start bringing in the Vikings, which he is, and he's got Terran ship weapons, level 2 or level 1 coming in, which is always a good choice when you're building Vikings. This missile turret is going to knock out this observer right away, and it's going to be knocked out itself, but it did kill that high ground vision, except that these Colossi are now here. Now the SCVs have already been pulled, the Marauders come in from behind and knock out a single one of the Colossi. They still target firing. They're going to lose another Colossus, and Socke is starting to retreat right now. So we've got some warplanes coming in right now. The Katowice is still moving forward. These Vikings are going to take out the last remaining Colossus, and these Marauders are going to do what they can to clean up these Stalkers. The Vikings are even landing. That's going to do not so much extra damage, but they are going to tank it so that the Marauders can keep attacking and stim away re-stim, and he's just going to keep pushing forward. He's got the high ground vision now with this other Viking, and he has no medevacs though, so he needs to kind of pull back a little bit. Koss, wow, sorry, I was flabbergasted by Socke building this extra base right here instead of over here, but it might have been a good deal since Koss has got a marina right there and can see it. But now that Koss still doesn't know that there's another nexus for Socke, but there is more pressure coming in from Socke. Socke right now is getting melted by these marauders. Just look how many marauders we've got here. We've got 13 marauders on the field right now for Koss, at least in this battle. And he's continuing to push forward. This medevac can be two-shotted right away. You should see right there that the sheer amount of DPS that can come out of the Terran players can be able to knock out this forward pylon and completely deny these reinforcements. The big blink away from Socke saves most of his stalkers. He's losing one on the backfield, and it looks like Koss is just going to continue forward since he doesn't see any type of Colossus play out of this. He forced the cancel without ever seeing the Nexus. That is probably going to hurt Socke a lot. He's got this Marine here. I think that might have just killed Socke. Socke needed that extra income to be able to reinforce and catch up to the supply of the Terran player. Oh, wow. Now, a number of more SCVs have been killed. A whole lot of SCVs, excuse me, have been killed by Socke, but the economy of Koss is just so high right now. He's got 3 command centers continuing SCV production, as you can see, and he's got 3-2 coming in, and there are no upgrades on the field for Socke. Socke right now, well, I can't say that. He's got 1-2, but he's not reinforcing with any more upgrades because he doesn't have the economy. And all these zealots can be kited against because they don't have charge yet. Now, if Koss attacks before charge finishes and knocks out any of these zealots, then he's just going to be putting himself further and further ahead, because it takes money for a 2-base Protoss to reinforce. And I say that, it looks like he's going to have a big drop in the main, and he's going to do a 2-pronged attack. He's going to knock out the 3rd again, but he is knocking out all of these zealots. As I was mentioning, they don't have charge yet, so they're not exactly useful against the bio army. One of the medevacs completely out of energy and is a bit far forward. He's going to start getting shot. Now they're going to have to start lifting, or at least going to kill one of the medevacs. He's trying to snipe it. He snipes all of them, but the zealots are still here. And he kills all of the sentries so that the marauders have free reign again, kiting all of these zealots. And the 2-pronged attack was able to knock out this Nexus and the drop in the main. That was Game 2. The series tied 1-1, Koss and Socke. And we're bringing you Game 3 of this PVT in just a second. Cheers.